welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ryan, your host, and we're going to close out the spooky season with a film that we're going to take a look at. This was a movie, we're going back to the 1980s as we take a look at a movie, as the title says, Drew Barrymore in Stephen King's Firestarter. This was released in, as I said, 1984. Now, a lot of people know that I have this, and I actually have the 2022 remake. But we're not going to cover that right now, so we'll save the 2022 remake later on down the road. Although I heard not very good things about this. But for now, I wanted to kind of cover the original Firestarter, the one that started it all. So, Firestarter. This was, like I said, this was 1984. In addition to Drew Barrymore, we also have a cast that included. Well, it says on here. It says it has David Keith, Drew Barrymore, as I said, Freddie Jones, Heather Locklear, Martin Sheen, George C. Scott, Art Carney, Louise Fletcher, along with Morris Gunn. So those are who is all in this. This is a really good stock cast, and I have seen this before, but I haven't reviewed it on the channel. What's also interesting, whenever I was reading about this, that it actually was produced by Frank Capra Jr., the son of Frank Capra Sr., the guy who made a lot of those 1930s films for Columbia Pictures. So it was directed by Mark L. Lester, who will go on to direct Schwarzenegger in 1985's Commando. He also made a movie from 82 called Class of 94, I do believe. I think that's what the movie was called. No, Class of 85, something like that. So he did that, and the music was actually composed by Tangerine Dream, who prior to this composed the Tom Cruise 1983's Risky Business. So they're really good. Now that I got out of the way, let's actually talk about Firestarter. So Firestarter focuses on Drew Barrymore. She plays a little girl named Charlie McGee. Now, Drew Barrymore I have covered on the channel, I believe, as an adult in a movie called Big Miracle. That's the other movie that I casted. But this is Drew Barrymore as a child star. Fresh from the heels of E.T., another Universal film, she's in this, and she's really good. So she plays Charlie McGee. So her father, Andy McGee, voiced by, David Keith. It's weird. There's David Keith and Keith David. So it's David Keith. Kind of rolls off the tongue. But anyways, right at the beginning of the film, we get this really cool title sequence, once again, by the amazing Tangerine Dream. So they did this cool fiery effect. The whole movie deals with fire, hence the title Firestarter. So right at the beginning, Charlie and her father are running away from the government, and all of a sudden they're trying to run away because she has these powers. So they're trying to escape, and they basically go trekking road to road to try to escape from the government. So they eventually get to a cab to go to the airport. I learned that the cab driver was played by the actor who was the original Huggy Bear in Starsky and Hutch. He has a small role as that cab driver. So Andy offers the cab driver $500, but turns out it's a dollar bill. So he has this these mind powers. So he's doing this, like that, and you can blood comes down his nose. He's doing that, and all of a sudden it turns into a $500 bill. So he drives them to the airport. So they make a phone call. All the change comes out of the payphone, and then all of a sudden they're basically she's trying not to use her power, so she's crying. She's like, "I'm sorry, Daddy, I'm scared. I'm scared too, baby." And they're panicking, and then there's an army guy fighting with his pregnant wife. So she has the power to this fire. So she's sort of like a fire starter, and the army guys let feet get on fire, and he's running, And then he's running out of there, grabbing the child like that, and they're trying to run away from the government. So it goes to that. So eventually they make it to a hotel and they stay for the night. So now they're basically walking. They're trekking from city to city to city. Then we meet up with a couple played by Art Carney and Louise Fletcher. So this couple, their line that's saying that that my wife is my wife's pregnant, and then she's having a baby, and then Charlie has to change her name to something else I forgot. So she's like changing the name, and he's like, I'm gonna have a baby brother. Yeah, and then they're like, oh, you're hop in. And then all of a sudden they get a ride down there. Then he had to tell Art Carney the truth that my name is not something. My name is actually Andy. So, and then the government now finds him, and he has these powers. So then we flash back to his wife, which is Charlie's mom, and they're trying to tell her not to use her powers to light things on fire. So she gets the power, and the toasted cheese is like literally lit on fire. And then she gets mad at her mom, and her mom's arms are lit up, and then she's crying, saying, I'm sorry, Daddy. It's craziness happens, craziness. There's great scenery, like I said. The score of Tangerine Dreams, as I said earlier, it's actually Tangerine Dream. But the score by those guys are just fantastic. It's very good compositions, great synthesizers, and I love it. The movie in a whole is just great. The cinematography is amazing too. Then we get, as I said before, we now get to George C. Scott, who's another guy. Martin Sheen appears, he's another guy. These guys work for the government. And here's kind of my big complaint. If I had to say one big complaint is, some of the side characters are just plumb dumb. Half the time they're there to play dumb. And that's like my really only complaint with it, is some of the characters are a bit too plumb dumb. As I'm watching the film, I'm like, come on, that could have happened. Like, I mean, the scene alone where Andy blinds two government agents, come on, you knew that was expected. The climax at the end, though, very long, is so good. It kind of reminds me of the final climax in Scarface. I wish it was just a little more shorter. I just wish it wasn't that long to get to the point. But when the climax happens, the climax happens. I think the performances are really good for what it is. It's just, all in all, a really fun time at the movies. And like I said before, I do have the remake right here. We will get to at some point. But I really want to just review the original and judge the original, what I think. And it's good. This is not bad. This is really, really solid. I liked this movie for what it is. I mean, this is not Stephen King's best. I still stand by Dead Zone, which is interesting because Martin Sheen also appeared in the Stephen King movie, The Dead Zone, before this in 1983. Drew Barrymore will go on to be in another Stephen King movie, Cat's Eye, in 1985. So, yeah. And I just think Drew Barrymore is just, man, she's just adorable. You just kind of love how one of the few child actresses that I really liked a lot. And she's good. There's a scene literally she's like playing the Atari, and she's like not even paying attention to Art Carney. George C. Scott. So she's playing the Atari, and she's just like playing and not even paying attention. It's like, wow, she's a gamer. Yeah, and then another scene, though, it's kind of weird. Not really weird, but there's a scene, one scene where she's in gymnastics leotards with the leggings. So, yeah, I just found that very strange. Also, they go fishing, which is weird. So, as I said before, the climax is good, but those are just minor. minor nitpicks aside, I think this is one. I think this is a ton of fun. I had a good time with Firestarter. Like I said, the Tangerine Dream score is literally its own character. You can even add them as the score right there. The score alone is its own character. I used to always think cinematography. Usually, when they got to the river, not the river, but when they got to this log cabin townhouse, I think, and they're fishing. So it's kind of like a father-daughter story. But like I said again, this is really good. Now, this may surprise you though. Now, I'm going to rate the movie, and I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, I forgot Heather Locklear is the mom in this. So she plays the mother, and it's just a small role. I'm trying to think anything else in the movie that I can praise. The associate producer was Martha Schumacher. I'm probably going to pronounce that name wrong. Like I said, I didn't even know that Frank Capra Jr. produced this movie. I was like, Frank Capra Jr. Oh, that must be the son of Frank Capra Sr., the guy who directed a lot of Columbia movies from the 30s. So, yeah, this movie is just a ton of fun. Like I said, this movie might not be for everybody, but if you're a Stephen King fan, if you want to see Drew Barrymore after E.T., this is definitely worth watching. So, I think I mentioned everything. I'm trying to mention, like I said, I forgot to mention the climax. It's good. The climax is actually pretty good. I just wish it was a little bit shorter. Not sure about the remake yet, but I am going to cover the remake someday down the road. But, like I said before, I wanted to cover the original and judge the original how I think the original is. And yeah, so yeah, I think I already mentioned everything. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the government agency is called The Shop and is located in Vermont. So they go to Vermont. This was actually filmed in North Carolina. They shot this movie in. So yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, so actually her name is Charlie McGee. So her name is Charlie. But if you read the book was made in 1980. So if you probably read the book, you probably would have thought the character was a male. But yeah. So that's all I'm going to say about the movie. If I go on and on and on, this video would be a lot longer than what I think. So yeah, let's actually rate the movie. I'm going to give Firestarter a 4 out of 5. The biggest reason I gave it a 4 out of 5 is I thought the ending climax was a little too long, and some of the supporting characters were just playing dumb. They were playing dumb, except for Andy McGee. He's the only supporting character that didn't play dumb. But I felt like Martin Sheen, George C. Scott, Morris Gunn, who played the Doctor, they all played dumb. Oh, I forgot to mention, before I go ahead and end it, I'm still going to, like I said, still going to give it what I rated, but I forgot to mention, there's a scene where Andy McGee is watching Woody Woodpecker. He's watching Woody Woodpecker cartoon, which is more of a universal in-joke. I forgot to mention, in my review of Cape Fear, there's a scene where De Niro is watching the first Problem Child in a movie theater, which is just weird. So it just goes to show you, let's put children's medium in a movie made for adults. But I wanted to bring that up since I didn't bring it up in my last review. So yeah, I did like that scene where he's watching Woody Woodpecker, which is actually pretty cool though. So yeah, that's it. Go check out Firestarter. Definitely worth watching. So yeah, and that's my review of Firestarter. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like the content of the channel, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to get all of my video notifications. I'm on Letterboxd, so you guys can check me out there as well. I got a ton of movie reviews, all that good stuff. And yeah, just head to the channel and let me know what you guys think of the original Firestarter. So yeah. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.